Good morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Meetinghouse of Provincetown, where we affirm the inherent worth and dignity of every person and where we support each other on our spiritual search for truth and meaning. My name is Reverend Kate Wilkinson, and I'm so glad that you have joined us this morning. Welcome to those of you in the room, and welcome also to those of you joining us via our live stream. Hello at home. I also want to give a special welcome to Ann McAdams' daughter, Heather. Thanks for being here. Can you believe that it's September? I just can't believe it's September, so we're just going to share a moment of being shocked by that, and then we can move on. To start us off, I have a few announcements to share. Once again, I am here to report that our little free pantry is totally bare. We have a hard time keeping up with all of the need this year, and the shelves go empty pretty quickly. The weather is cooling off now, so we can start accepting canned food donations again. So pretty much anything in a can or a box would be most welcome, but please nothing in glass though. We have a really diverse group of people who access our pantry. So we always make sure to have some things that can be eaten without a kitchen to prep in, like cans with Pop-Tops or individually portioned ready meals, some food that kids like, and some healthy and nutrient-rich options like dried beans and tuna fish. So, as always, thank you so much for your donations to this important ministry. Next week is water communion. So please bring a small amount of water from some place that is special to you, even if that is your kitchen tap. We will combine all of our waters, bless it, boil it, and create the holy water for our community. I use this water to bless babies and wedding rings and bicycles, anything that anyone asks me to bless, really. I'll use that throughout the year. So please join us in this uniquely Unitarian Universalist ritual next week. And do come back at 5 o'clock today, if you are able, for tonight's Great Music at 5 concert. Tonight's concert features music from Beethoven and Haydn with flute, piano, cello, and violin. And speaking of great concerts, after a 3-year pandemic hiatus, the Celebration of Life concert is back. Yay! This is actually my favorite event of the year. I am so excited. All of the musicians in town perform one song from their shows, and it's totally free, and we usually have a packed house, and it's purely about being glad to be alive and together and living in this magical place. So we hope that you can join us Friday, September 8th at 8 o'clock right here in our sanctuary. And finally, if you are here in person today, we invite you to stick around after our service for coffee hour. We have coffee and tea and lemonade. You can enjoy that downstairs or outside on our lawn. We're a pretty friendly lot. So if you don't know anyone, just introduce yourself, and I promise that that person will talk to you and be lovely. So members, don't forget to be lovely. Now let's take a moment to affirm our community's covenant. You can find this on the little purple laminated cards in your pews, or you can just listen to me. I'm going to say it line by line, and I invite you to repeat each line after me. Love is the spirit of this meeting house.
Love is the spirit of this meeting house.
This is our great covenant.
This is our great covenant.
To dwell together in peace.
To dwell together in peace.
To seek the truth in love.
To seek the truth in love.
And to help one another. And now, as we light our chalice here in the sanctuary, I invite those of you who are watching from home to light a candle wherever you are. That way we can feel connected even while we are apart. And this morning I invite Ellen and Vincent to light our chalice for us.
The chalice lighting words today are from Reverend Karen G. Johnston. Let us be, as the great poet says, each other's harvest. Let us affirm, as the great poet proclaims, we are each other's business. Let us aspire, as the great poet lavishes, to be each other's magnitude, to be each other's bond. Let us know and care for each other. At our most vulnerable, at our strongest, at our most mutual. Let us be true and real with each other and the world. At least for this hour. We gather together for worship. It is good to be together.
I invite you now to join in singing our opening hymn, number 347, Gather the Spirit. That is number 347 in this gray hymnal. Gather the Spirit. Please rise as you are able.
Thank you.
You may be seated. Mary, I think you might want to do some choir recruitment from somewhere in this area. Yeah.
Who was that? Here, Tim.
Won't you please join me now in a time of meditation and prayer? During this time or any time during the service, you're welcome to light a silent candle at the table to the right of the pulpit, and there's a journal there to record your thoughts and prayers. After the meditation, we will sing together Spirit of Life, hymn number 123. You can also find the words to this song printed on those same purple laminated cards in your pews. The words are there in English and in Spanish. In this time of prayer, may we bring into our circle of concern all those who, through our prayerful intentions, may be held by the inexplicable web of connection that links us together. May our love and our prayers not be limited to ourselves or those near us, but extend to all our neighbors, both those we know and those we never will. We lift up in our hearts and prayers members of this community, our loved ones and families. May our hearts be gladdened by the joys of this sacred community, and may we have the strength and compassion to hold the sorrows as well. We lift up in our hearts and prayers all those who are going without today, without food or shelter, without security or love. May those who are without not be without hope. We lift up in our hearts and prayers all those who are affected by war, all those who suffer from acts of violence and who are afraid. We pray that justice and healing makes its way into these lives. May our prayers not be limited to words, but express themselves in action. And may we continue to feel the tug of the web as we realize and hold tight our connections to one another. Amen.
reading this morning is Fault Line by Robert Walsh. Did you ever think there might be a fault line passing underneath your living room? A place in which your life is lived, in meeting and in separating, wondering and telling, unaware that just beneath you is the unseen seam of great plates that strain through time, and that your life, already spilling over the brim, could be invaded, set off in a new direction, turned aside by forces you are warned about but not prepared for. Shelves could be spilled out, the level floor set at an angle, in some seconds shaking. You would have to take your losses, do whatever is to be done next. When the great plates slip and the earth shivers and the flaw is seen to lie in what you trusted most, look not for more solidity, to weighty slabs of concrete poured, or strength of cantilevered beam to save the fractured order. Trust more the tensile strands of love that bend and stretch to hold you in the web of life that's often torn but always healing. There's your strength. The shifting plates, the restive earth, your room, your precious life, they all proceed from love, the ground on which we walk together. Our next hymn is What Wondrous Love. It's hymn 18 in the gray hymnal. What Wondrous Love, number 18. Please rise as you're able.
Soul.
Now is the time in our service where we take a collection for the ongoing support of this Meetinghouse and our shared ministry. As we enjoy a musical reflection, we welcome your donations in the sanctuary or online through PayPal or Venmo. You can find information on our website, uumh.org, and there are also QR codes in the pews as well. This time I invite 4 volunteer ushers to come forward for the collection. On and off-site, your offerings will now be gratefully received.
Is in this very room.
Thank you. Have any of you been following the drama in the country music scene about the new song, Rich Men North of Richmond? No, okay. Let me fill you in then. There's a young artist named Oliver Anthony who recently wrote a song about the struggle of the working man. And now you might see Oliver Anthony's picture or video around now that you are looking for it. He is a young guy with shockingly red hair and a long, bushy red beard. He was a pretty unknown musician a few months ago. But his song made it onto a local radio station down in Virginia where he lives, and people liked it. He was singing their song about being poor, about struggling financially and emotionally, about not getting ahead even though you are working really hard. And it had lines like, "I've been selling my soul, working all day, overtime hours for bull pay, so I can sit out here, waste my life away, drag back home, drown my troubles away, and it's a damn shame what the world's gotten to for people like me and people like you. Wish I could just wake up and it not be true, but it is. Oh, it is." He laments that inflation has made the dollar almost worthless, that young men are becoming hopeless, committing suicide, that life is hard and sometimes seems pointless. He blames taxes, rich politicians, but also the obese milking welfare. This is where he lost me. Where is his money going is really what he wants to know, but he doesn't understand, so he looks around for someone to blame, and he picks the easiest targets. Well, the song went viral when it started being shared by conservative politicians and commentators who have begun using it as a weapon in their culture wars. People like Marjorie Taylor Greene, who called it the anthem for forgotten Americans. And Robert Reich wrote an article about the song recently. He had a few bones to pick with it, especially with how it's being used as a tool by far-right politicians to side with the working people, while policy-wise they are actually working against them. The current Republicans' cultural populism is bogus, he says. The biggest change over the last 3 decades, the change lurking behind the insecurities and resentments of the working middle class, has nothing to do with identity politics, wokeism, critical race theory, transgender kids, or any other current political boogeyman. It has directly to do with a huge shift in the distribution of income and wealth. We've deregulated Wall Street, he says, cut taxes on the rich, let corporations destroy unions, allowed big corporations to merge with each other, bailed out banks, but not homeowners, sided with the wealthy over and over again. And Marjorie Taylor Greene and the like are the ones that have forgotten and betrayed the average American, he said, and now they're co-opting and profiting from this song. Well, pretty soon, Rich Men North of Richmond spread right across the pond, and it came to the attention of Billy Bragg. And Bragg is a singer-songwriter and activist from England. And he understood why the song was catchy. He liked the tune and some of the lyrics and sympathized with the workers Anthony was singing about. But like Reich, he felt that Oliver Anthony had laid the blame at the wrong doorstep. And he worried about this young man being thrust into fame so quickly and being used by the wrong people. So he rewrote the song. If you're selling your soul, working all day, overtime hours for pay, well, Nothing's gonna change if all you do is wish you could wake up and it not be true. Join a union. Fight for better pay, you better join a union, brother. Organize today. Instead of calling it Rich Men North of Richmond, he entitled it Rich Men Earning North of $1 Million. In his new lyrics, he blames the 1% instead of those on welfare. He blames the system, corporations, and the politicians supporting them, and he offers a solution to the powerlessness felt by the masses. If you're struggling with your health and you're putting on the pounds, doctor gives you opiates to help you get around, well, wouldn't it be better for folks like you and me if medicine was subsidized and healthcare was free? Join a union. Fight for better pay, come on and join a union, sister. Organize today. He also speaks to the song being used as a hypocritical political tool. Well, you know, your culture wars are there to distract while libertarian billionaires avoid paying tax. You want to talk about bathrooms while the floodwaters rise, the forest is on fire, and the wind burns our eyes. They want to divide us because together we're strong. Are you going to take action now you've sung your damn song? If you don't like the rich man having total control, you better get the union to roll. Join a union. Fight for better pay. Come on and join a union. Organize today. I don't have any more lyrics. Oh, you were just getting so into it. I love you guys. So look up both these songs, and the second one is a perfect song to sing on Labor Day tomorrow. We ignore the struggles of the working class at our peril, because people are struggling. We see it here in Provincetown when we fill our little free pantry every day, when we go to the grocery store and things cost double what they used to, when we fill up at the gas tank and our cars guzzle down our paychecks, and when we see elders with nowhere to live, sleeping on the streets. When people feel forgotten, they get angry. And often they get angry at the wrong people. And politicians are more than happy to provide straw men to attack while simultaneously working behind the scenes to protect the wealthy and feed the corporations. The truth is that there are a lot of people struggling, but politicians keep us all separated from one another. Black and brown and white, gay and straight, north and south, city and country, Christians and non-Christians, so that we'll only fight against the thing that's hard for us and against them. But if we all banded together, we really could create a different world, a more just one where wealth was shared more equally, one where we didn't hate each other quite so much. But the hate is what separates us, keeps us siloed, keeps us from taking care of each other in our struggles. And it's intentional. Maybe you've heard this story before. One day, a teacher brought a load of balloons to school, and she blew them all up and she handed them out, one to each child, and she told them to write their name on it. And then she threw all the balloons out into the hallway and mixed them up. You have 5 minutes to find your own balloon, she said, And then she watched as the children scrambled to search for their name in a sea full of identical-looking balloons. And at first they were having fun, but as the minutes ticked on, it became less so, as no one seemed to be able to find their own balloon. And at the end of 5 minutes, only 1 or 2 students held their balloons in their hand. At this point, the teacher called the students back and gave them new instructions. Go out into the hallway and take the first balloon that you find and hand it to the person whose name is written on it. And within 3 minutes, all of the students had been reunited with their own balloon. These balloons are like happiness, the teacher told the kids once they had reassembled in the classroom. We will never find it if everyone is looking for their own. If we care about other people's happiness, if we work on bringing others happiness, we will find ours too. The poet Gwendolyn Brooks was talking about the musician Paul Robeson when she wrote that his music reminded us that we are each other's harvest. We are each other's business. We are each other's magnitude and bond. Why are we here if not to look after one another? What a lonely and miserable place this world would be if it really were every man for himself. Maya Angelou writes, lying, thinking last night how to find my soul a home where water is not thirsty and bread loaf is not stone. I came up with one thing, and I don't believe I'm wrong, that nobody, but nobody, can make it out here alone. There are some millionaires with money they can't use. Their wives run around like banshees. Their children sing the blues. They've got expensive doctors to cure their hearts of stone. But nobody, no, nobody, can make it out here alone. Now, if you listen closely, I'll tell you what I know. Storm clouds are gathering. The wind is gonna blow. The race of man is suffering. And I can hear the moan. 'Cause nobody, but nobody, can make it out here alone. I've always loved that poem. Now, this may seem like a non sequitur, but do you remember the story of Charlotte's Web? Yeah. It's a story about an unlikely friendship, right? Wilbur the pig is born on a farm, but he is very small. He is the runt of the litter. And the farmer makes a decision to end his life because it will take too much extra work to care for him. But the farmer's daughter, Fern, begs him to spare the pig. And she bottle feeds him until he is as healthy as the other pigs. And then Wilbur is sent to live on the neighboring Zuckerman farm, where soon he learns that he is scheduled to be slaughtered with the rest of them. But on this new farm, he meets a barn spider named Charlotte, and they become friends. And he confides in Charlotte that he is scared. Charlotte thinks about this for a time and realizes that in order to save Wilbur, she has to make him famous. So she works tirelessly, spinning a web over the barn door with words that make Wilbur seem extraordinary. Remember those? Some pig. Terrific. The web, the barn, and Wilbur become a tourist attraction. Word spreads, and soon Wilbur is considered too special to be slaughtered, with some even considering him to be a miracle. You will live, secure and safe, Wilbur, Charlotte reassures him. Nothing can harm you now. These autumn days will shorten and grow cold. The leaves will shake loose from the trees and fall. Christmas will come, and the snows of winter. You will live to enjoy the beauty of the frozen world, for you mean a great deal to Zuckerman now, and he will not harm you, ever. Winter will pass, the days will lengthen, the ice will melt in the pasture pond, the song sparrow will return and sing, the frogs will awake, the warm wind will blow again. All these sights and sounds and smells will be yours to enjoy, Wilbur. This lovely world, these precious days. But why did you do all this for me? Wilbur asks. I don't deserve it. I've never done anything for you. You have been my friend, replied Charlotte. That in itself is a tremendous thing. There's a story from the Upada Sutta, one of the Buddhist scriptures, that talks about friendship. And here's a retelling of it by James Ford. One day, while walking quietly together, out of the silence, the Buddha's attendant Ananda declared, "Teacher, to have companions and comrades on the great way is so amazing. I have come to realize that friendship is fully half of an authentic spiritual life." They proceeded along quietly for a while more, before out of that silence the Holy One responded, "No, dear one, without companions and comrades, no one can live into the deep, finding the true harmonies of life to achieve authentic wisdom. To say it simply, friendship is the whole of spiritual life." At the World Aquatics Championships in Budapest last June, USA's two-time Olympian, Anita Alvarez, was performing in a solo swimming routine when she suddenly lost consciousness. Now, the lifeguards didn't jump in to rescue her right away because, well, they didn't know her routine and didn't know how long she was meant to be underwater. And they also needed the official okay from the referees before jumping in so as not to invalidate the competition. But Anita's coach, Andrea Fuentes, looking across the deck, realized that she had been under the water way too long. So Andrea dove in after her fully clothed, and she found her unconscious at the bottom of the pool. And she pulled Anita's limp body to safety, where she was revived. Now, if Andrea had not noticed right away, she would have drowned. But she knew Anita. Watching from the sidelines, she quickly noticed that the swimmer was under too long, and she dove in without thinking twice. When you are under too long, who are the people that will look for you, notice, and dive in to pull you to the surface when you lose your strength to swim? Who are the people who would do that for you? And can someone count on you to be that person that would go looking and notice when they are under too long, diving in to support them when they are all out of fight and fuel to swim? Those are good questions. And I posted that picture, which is so powerful, of that coach in all her clothes pulling that swimmer up to the surface. But friendships can't actually be the whole of spiritual life. Do you think? I don't think so. Maybe what the Buddha meant is that we shouldn't live in isolation from one another. It can't just be friendship, because we have to care deeply about those beyond our immediate circle too. We have to love our dear ones diligently, watching to see if they're okay, diving in with our clothes on if they don't come up for air. But we also have to recognize that Black Americans have been under too long. That they are drowning in the racism of our country. And we have to be the ones to see that and interrupt that. And we have to recognize that poor Americans and the struggling middle class have been under too long, and that they don't feel cared about or seen or valued, which can lead them to anger that will rend the fabric of our communities even further. And we have to recognize that trans teens have been under too long, and that their risk of suicide is a much bigger problem than our discomfort with pronouns or bathrooms or binary conceptions of gender. Now, if you listen closely, I'll tell you what I know. Storm clouds are gathering. The wind is going to blow. The race of man is suffering. And I can hear the moan, because nobody can make it out here alone. So, what is the whole of our spiritual life? In the closing lines of her letter to Unitarian Universalists, which she just sent out this week, our new UUA president wrote, "As we move together in this new time for Unitarian Universalism, I want us to hold on to the lessons that we have learned coming out of the pandemic. Lessons about how to hold one another in care, how to protect the health of all, and how to center the needs of those most vulnerable among us so that community writ large continues. This is the work of communal care as we steward this faith together. Be well, beloveds." Reverend Dr. Sophia Betancourt. On this Labor Day weekend, I invite us to cherish our friendships, to value them and tend to them, to call a friend who might not be okay right now, to check in on them, and to thank our family and our friends for all that they have done for us, all that they are in our lives, all the ways that they have helped us to grow spiritually. And I invite us to widen our circle of care whenever we can, to notice and see when other people are not okay, to listen to them so that they do not feel forgotten, to hand them their balloon of happiness instead of just looking for our own, to ensure that they too can enjoy this lovely world, these precious days, to work for their safety, their belonging, as if their well-being were tied up with ours. Because in the world that we are going to create together, it is. May it be so. Amen, and blessed be.
It has become our practice to pose a question based on the theme of the service each week. It can be a topic of sharing at coffee hour today or with friends during the week. If you'd like to delve deeper into this conversation, please join our Zoom coffee hour, Tuesdays at 5 o'clock. Let us know if you need that link. Our question this week is, tell us about someone who has pulled you out of the water when you were under too long. Tell us about someone who has pulled you out of the water when you've been under too long.
Thank you for joining us this morning. Thank you for joining us this morning from home. When the great plates slip and the earth shivers and the flaw is seen to lie in what you trusted most, look not to more solidity, to weighty slabs of concrete to save the fractured order. Trust more the tensile strands of love that bend and stretch to hold you in the web of life that's always torn, but always healing. There's your strength. The shifting plates, the rest of earth, your room, your precious life, they all proceed from love, the ground on which we walk together. Go in peace.